Oh, it's just cricket. I'm going with just cricket. Hello, Jamie. Welcome to It's Just Cricket.
Um, yeah, if we're going with it's just cricket, do we not need to change the socials handles? They're all, it's just not.
Nah, it's fine.
All
I
right,
think I think it's fine. No problem.
cool,
Yeah, no worries
cool,
at
cool,
all.
cool.
Easy peasy. There's no confusion at all in the title of our podcast. Nice to speak to you. Nice for you to be listening to us again, oh beloved audience. We're back. It's been a little while. We did our little Roots Ignation reaction on our little YouTubes. If you fancy giving that a listen, but it's our first podcast in a little while. Have you missed this, Mr. Jamie?
I have a bit, yeah. It's been a little while. It kind of became routine for a bit, and then we stopped, and then,
Did a bit,
I
yeah,
had
yeah.
to watch and be depressed by football.
Let's just speak about that. The better, I suppose. Um, but cricket's been powering on. I'm sure you've been glued and transfixed to the IPL.
IPL
That's
special.
been going on for the last, I think, 5 years. I think just continuously, just one big league, I reckon. Um, it never seems to. There's so many of these tournaments. It's like the Big Bash and the CPL. They just never seem to end. It just keeps going on and on and on. I saw a little article the other day saying, "Oh, at the halfway point." I'm like, "How are we only at the halfway point of the IPL? When does it end?" So, yeah, I've been loving that.
I swear we went from IPL to T20 World Cup back to IPL again in the space of like 3 months. Just stop it.
Oh yeah, we got two IPLs last year. That was a treat.
Oh, we've got another T20 World Cup this year, haven't we?
Yep,
Cool.
yep. There's never enough of a good thing, I like to say. Um, Cody's doing well though. He got two golden ducks and a nine yesterday. He's on a good reign of form. Soundbite quickly, Jamie. Is this the end of Virat Kohli?
Yes.
Oh, you heard it here first. I mean, I think he'll get a little bit of form back, but he's not going to be anywhere near close to the player he used to be. It's a bit like when Ponting reached his end and Tendulkar, all these kind of like giants of the game. They're just at a stage where I think it just sort of, not saying he doesn't have the hunger anymore, but I think it just gets to a point where it's not as maybe important to them. I don't know, or like something just switches off a bit, and it's sort of like, I don't know, maybe not even, maybe he might not even be conscious of it, but it's just, I don't know. I think there's a stage in all those kind of like careers. It's very similar to Ponting, Tendulkar, that it's sort of like that best time has gone, and that's not to say he'll still be a goodish player, but I don't think he's going to be anywhere close to as he was. But you never know; he might get 600s his next six innings, and we'll all be fools.
Yeah. I mean, his form has sort of coincided with resigning from captaincy and like just generally on a bit of a downward spiral with his scores. It just feels like he's kind of done with it. At least with like the Indian side of it, he like can't be bothered with the politics of Indian Test cricket. Like maybe the shine of the IPL for whatever reason is wearing off for him. Like it feels like he either needs something fresh to do in cricket or he's just going to retire soon.
Yeah.
I just get the impression that he's kind of done with it.
No, I think so. We are in danger of falling into IPL chat here, so I'm going to say we'll move swiftly on. Since our last recording, and even since our last Rude Ignation video, Rob Key has been officially announced as England's new managing director of cricket. Obviously, former Kent player, a captain, obviously former Sky pundit as well. Now got one of the most coveted roles in English cricket, mainly because no one else wanted it. What do you think of that appointment, Jamie?
I mean, prior to it, it was just kind of a bit meh. Like, it's one of the boys getting a job in the ECB. But there was that interview he did, or something for Sky he did, where he's like going through everything wrong with the England setup, and he like tears into root. Like reading through that, it's like, all right, Rob, I'm gonna give you a chance here. You're saying all the right things now. Do those right things.
Yeah, what I think is a good fit for Rob Key, and I read something the other day that one of the various cricket journalists that's saying that they wouldn't be surprised if he did quit by the end of the year, because I fear that he's so passionate about English cricket and he just wants to succeed and he sees everything how it is. He wants to, make the kind of obvious fixes. I think the obvious fixes to fans as well. But I just worry that there's a number of English cricket hurdles in the way, or the administration side that will be like, nope, you can't do that. Nope, this has got for nope, money this here, money that. And I feel like he could get frustrated quite quickly if they give him free reign to do whatever it is he wants to do. Then it could succeed out. But I worry that there's going to be too many kind of blockages. But I think like you say, I think he's in the sense of how he talks with Sky. I hope he still retains that kind of honesty and just plain speaking, really. And I think it goes from England, but always it goes right down to the root of the game as well. So he's got his daughter who's going through all the processes of getting into professional cricket and playing cricket. And he was talking, as it was kind of rearing its head a few months ago, about the kind of obscene costs that it takes for young people or children to get into cricket. If you want to succeed in any sort of cricket, you're spending parents are spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds, obviously ferrying children to and from places, kits, training facilities, coaches, and it just, as I've said before, it makes cricket the most least successful kind of sport ever. Because what young kid is gonna, or what parent is gonna be able to afford a young child who's got a slight interest in cricket? Or they could, grab a pair of football boots and go join a Sunday team or something like that. Why are they going to spend so much money for something that in the end you're still going to have to pay for, and then it leads to all these kind of elite posh boy players or posh girl players as well? I think he's very on it with that, and I don't know how the ECB are going to turn around and see that, because obviously they get all the money from a lot of their big private schools and things like that, and the players that they make through there. But I think if he can make changes in that regard, just to make cricket more accessible for everyone, then all for it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting if he gets in touch with or works with Ebony Rainford-Brent. I think she's been doing a lot of work with making it more accessible for young girls to play cricket more often. So if they can merge and sort of not necessarily fix that problem, but put it on the right sort of tracks to make cricket more accessible from a young age for a cheaper price, and just let the kids play and see how it goes. And
exactly.
Maybe even look towards a sort of American system with college cricket, or university cricket, and then you move up the ranks that way, or whatever. Just find a way to make it an easier pathway from youth to county championship, for example.
Definitely. I agree. I think, like you said, Ebony Rainford-Brent does some great stuff for Surrey, for women's cricket, and diversity in cricket as well. So if she was ever kind of involved in any regard, I think that would be a great pick. But yeah, I think you're completely right. Because like I say again, what parent is going to, not many parents going to be able to, especially with let's get politics, but cost of living stuff as well at the moment, all that kind of thing. What kid is going to be or what parent's going to be, I'm going to spend upwards of £500 for my son or daughter to maybe make it. I think it even transpires even when you get older, and when you get into club cricket, and obviously you've got, with all kind of sports, you'd have to pay kind of subscription fees and things like that, but cricket prices are obscene. One of my local clubs up here, I think you've got to pay, I think it's upwards about £150 a year. And then you obviously got to pay money for each game as well. And then you've got to buy your kit. It's an incredibly inaccessible game. And I think that's where cricket always has got its kind of image problem, that it is always seen as that kind of elite sport. That's why we love it, and that's why we do a podcast. We love it. But yeah, fingers crossed. I hope he does well. Obviously, he wants to split the coaches as well, which I think is the absolutely right thing to do. Seen a lot of bin chat by people saying, "Oh, it didn't work last time when we had Ashley Giles and whoever the other coach was at the time." But at the same time, both our England teams then were crap. Now we've got the best white ball team in the world, and then a bad red ball team. So the white ball stuff looks after itself, and then red ball we can focus on. But I think that's a good shout. Do you think it's a good shout?
I mean, could you not say the white ball stuff it's come down to Owen Morgan.
Yeah, and I think there was probably also a bit of chat that maybe Morgan could blend into kind of sort of a player coach and then maybe coach, but yeah, that's his team. That's his baby, so to speak. So I think that's going to be fine, and there'll be Butler's team, and it will just go on from there. So I can't really see any problems with that. It's obviously the Red Bull, which is the crux of the issue. But speaking of Red Bull, the county championship has been ongoing. I think it's the fourth round starts tomorrow, I believe. You'd obviously be looking at your stats so far for this year. We'll get into that a little bit later. But is there anything from the county circuit that's caught your eye at all?
There was this, I think it was Sussex versus Derbyshire, where Sussex had to follow on, and they still won. No, they didn't win. I think they drew, but it was still.
Yeah, I think they got 513 odd for free. I believe it was Tom Haynes and Chiswara Pujara both got double hundreds. I think they got 513 for free to save the game after following on. So that's pretty good going, I reckon.
Yeah, like just a mad game. Like fair play to those who like just stepping up after such a horrid first inning.
Massively. But no, it's been nice to kind of dip in and out of it. Obviously, I think I always look out for kind of players on the England watch list. It's kind of stuff I like to look out for. I think the Lancashire and Gloucestershire game last week was probably standout game for me so far, I reckon. Obviously, you had Jimmy back, Saqib Mahmood back, Matt Parkinson playing, Hassan Ali as well, James Bracey, Marcus Harris. It's great kind of testament to showing the quality that is still in the county championship.
What a fucking attack that is for Lancashire as well.
It's not bad, is it? It's an international level class attack. Yeah, incredible.
We're going to be talking about Test cricket inevitably, but that's a proper Test cricket attack if there ever was one, and it's playing against Gloucestershire.
Definitely. Yeah, and it was a proper Red Bull game as well. So Gloucestershire batted first, got about 250. Lancashire got 556 for 7 declared. Josh Bohannon getting 231. We will talk about him later. Then I think it went down to, there's about 3 overs left, and Gloucestershire were battling for the draw, batted for 124 overs. But obviously when you got an attack with Jimmy, who got 2, Hassan Ali got 3, after I think he got 6 in the first innings. Saqib got 2, Parkinson got 3. It's a great attack. Obviously they've got great conditions and great facilities, and obviously a very sporting city, Manchester. But I think out of all the county teams, they're definitely ones to keep an eye on, and I think they'll continue to go from strength to strength this year for sure. It's hard to see many teams matching them. But there's just so many little kind of intricate little stories, I think, in county cricket. Like you've got Shaheen Sharafidi playing for Middlesex and Marnus Labuschagne playing for Glamorgan. They had a little tussle last week as well, where Shaheen definitely had his number. So that was a lot of fun. You got Ben Compton for Kent churning out runs for fun. James Bracey's come back. Craig Overton, your favourite cricketer of all times, leading the wickets of 16. But you've just got so many more to come. Like Broad's back tomorrow, and it's just like you see people like Peterson and Jonathan Agnew kind of just always wanting to franchise the county game by saying there's not good enough players. But you've got so much talent and good overseas talent as well this year, that every now and then you just watch some of these games. It's just great to watch all the live feeds and things like that. I'm kind of rambling into nothing, but I think it's been great so far this season. I think it's just been good to watch decent Red Bull cricket in England and not have to rely on friggin' England, if that makes sense. So it's been quite fun, I think, for sure.
Yeah, it's nice to not be emotionally invested in it.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. And I've got obviously little ties for Kent and Worcester and things like that, and I like to see them do well. But at the same time, it's also just quite nice to just, watch players you like do a job or give it a good go and things like that. It's just been enjoyable. So I look forward to the next round tomorrow. It'll be very exciting.
It is quite nice to see those international stars just scattered around each county was like, he's playing for Derby or he's playing for Durham, and it's like it just like it just feels nice, you know. It's
Yeah.
weird.
The little head-to-heads, they're great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. It's all fun and games. But I think it will lead us on to the next topic for a guy who's not played yet this season, who plays normally for Durham, Mr. Benjamin Stokes, who we believe, as we record this on the 27th of April, is most likely going to be announced as England's new Test match captain for the men's side tomorrow, or it could be next week. I've also seen conflicting reports, but it seems pretty much everyone's reporting it today, so I imagine we'll get some sort of announcement or press conference tomorrow. At the end of the day, it couldn't really be anyone else, could it?
I mean, not to like go into too much spoilers, like we've been looking at who we pick for our next Test 11. Like as I was going through it, I had who I wanted as captain in the back of my head, and I was like, there is literally no other choice than Ben Stokes. If it's not
No.
Root, which, you know, it's not anymore, it's got to be like there's no other option. You can maybe go mad and give it Jimmy or Broad, but that would just turn into a massive dictatorship in Test cricket.
Yeah, I think definitely, and it's I agree completely. It's there's obviously fanciful kind of ideas as well of people like, you know, Sam Billings or something like that. But at the end of the day, Ben Stokes is your best player apart from Root. I know obviously he's not really performed as well as he had liked over the last few months, but obviously there's a lot of mitigating circumstances for that. He's a guy that will always put 100% into his leadership, wears, you know, the badge on his sleeve. You know, the cliche that he would probably run through a brick wall for you, and I probably wouldn't put that past Ben Stokes. You know, he's a guy that's always wanted to succeed at the highest level. I mean, whether that relates to a good captain, we'll see. But, you know, I don't think it's fair to judge him on the failures of captains that came before. You know, people who were the best players in the team don't make good captains, you know, like people like Flintoff or, you know, Peterson and things like that. I don't think it's fair to judge him on the past until he's given his fair go, and I think he'll give it his all for sure. And I think he's generally a decent guy, and obviously rallies the team. So why wouldn't you want him as your figurehead?
Yeah. And really, Joffre's not played Test cricket in a while now, so he needs to get back into some sort of fitness and rhythm before he can take over the captaincy long term.
Sure. Yeah, good point. Forget about that. Speaking of which, though, I'm actually going to quickly send you my first thing, because speaking of Joffre, he's not actually in this, but I'm going to send you over a little link to England Cricket, if you want to follow that and just load it up and have a little look and give me your initial thoughts.
I'm excited. England Cricket introducing our new Castore Test Kit, available to buy now.
Do you love it?
I have one thought.
Yeah.
It's a test kit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
if you want to release a new ODI or T20 kit, like, cool. Like, it's going to change because you're allowed to have different fucking colours on it. It's a test kit. It's white.
Yeah.
You've got an additional sponsor instead of Cinch, which, fuck you.
Well, Cinch is still there. Cinch is still there.
Oh, yeah, I've cinched it. Yeah,
can't get rid of that.
No, that was glaringly obvious. I did not miss Cinch being there.
I love that it was also says a fresh take on the classic. No, it's not. Everyone wears the same colour in Test cricket. It's the same. Nothing has changed. Yeah. It's a test kit.
The collar's a bit weird, but
it's a bit bright white. I've been seeing people, you know, going off there. Oh, it should be cream white. But are you really going to be watching a test match and being like, oh, I wish that shade of white was slightly different as, you know, Stokes hits 120? Like, no, who cares? It's a test match. It's white. Who cares? I just love that they're also making this massive big thing. And this was 100% filmed when Root just got back from West Indies, and he couldn't care less about being in this video, and it is so abundantly obvious. It's like, why am I here? Why have you dragged me into this? But it's great. I think it's a lot of fun. I think you can buy it as well for a simple, cheap price of £65 as well, I believe.
You can buy it now.
Yeah, buy it now. But that's how I got into Joffa, because if you follow the link, there's a little picture of Joffa in his test kit, which gives you some hope that hopefully he'll be back in Test cricket whites one day. But that's the only thing I enjoyed from that at all, I think.
That irrationally annoys me more than it should.
Yeah. It's bizarre. Like, why would you do such a massive, stupid launch? I could understand if it was a one-day kit and you got a bit more kind of flair and artistic style with that. But why are you doing a video for just a white shirt? I'm just watching it again and it's just useless. Oh, well. Rubbish.
It's white. Fucking hell.
It's white. Everyone wears the same. Oh, God. Right, so we've got a new captain. We've got a new test kit. All it leads us with is to pick the rest of the 10 players. So that's what we've been doing this week. I think you have probably a bit more energy than me. We've been trying to figure out who will be the best team to take on New Zealand at Lords in June. You obviously now know it's going to be Ben Stokes, so he'll be skipper. So do we want to share our teams? Did you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Do you want to?
How do you fancy doing this?
Do it so we both go through our orders at the same time. So we both go 1, we both go 2, 3.
Yep, sure. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah,
Cool,
yeah.
cool,
Do you want
cool,
me to send you my team sheet, or are we going to do it just reading? Oh, you've done yours. Okay, nice.
Yeah,
Oh, nice. Look at yours. Wow, I did not do that effort. We'll share these on the socials, but I did not spend that amount of time. I got home from work and I'm going to smash this together. And there's mine.
That's right.
It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that yours looks more like what the actual England Twitter would say.
Yeah. I've got a job now.
Yeah.
Okay, right. God. Nice. So, interesting. I can see there's some similarities straight away. So let's go for our openers. And I think we're going to have the same openers. So I've gone Zach Crawley, Tom Haynes. You've also gone Zach Crawley, Tom Haynes. What's your rationale?
I mean, I went far into a rabbit hole looking at stats and averages. And just looking like, I think if you look at career stats, they can sort of be a bit off-putting. They can be inaccurate to current form. So like I was looking at how they're doing currently this season, how they did last season, how they did in the previous full season before COVID. And like Tom Haynes has steadily improved from 2019 to 21 to 22. He's got a massive 243 this season. He's like 23 and already captaining Sussex for first class and the one-day game. So like, why not just put him in for this game? And no, not for this game, for this series, and just see how he goes.
Yeah, no, I completely agree on that. I think from seeing from a little bit outset what he's done from Sussex as well, because they were in such difficulties at the end of last season. They lost a lot of good players. But obviously signing people like Pujara and Rizwan's been great. But yeah, to be a young captain, I think as well also shows testament to you as a player and as a character. That if you can captain a team that's going through a bit of rebuilding, then you've obviously got a bit about you. I think we mentioned briefly earlier about that, massive partnership he put on with Pujara when Sussex got 513 to save that game. Again, just shows the resilience. He also got 41 in the first innings, so he was by far their best batter in that game. He's a left-hander as well. I always love a left-handed opener. And I think, he's obviously got something about him. I'd give him a go. I think it's, slightly unfair on Lees.
No, it's not.
You may disagree.
I do disagree.
I mean,
disagree.
He obviously got 180 in his first county championship game. He also got injured. I think he could do a job, but I think Tom Haynes is a guy you look at with a bit more, I don't know, interest, and I think he's got more of a game to succeed at this level, and an all-round game. I think with Leeds, you slowly, I think, maybe fall into a bit of a category of a Sibley, both of whom could be very, very good county championship first-class cricketers, but maybe they don't have the game for the highest level against the best teams. That's not to say they both couldn't come again, but I just think right here, right now, Haynes is probably the best shout, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you have to take county stats and county form with a pinch of salt because it's just not the same level as Test cricket. So you can look at Haynes and be like, he deserves a chance at Test cricket, but that doesn't necessarily, just because he's playing so well at the minute, that he's going to fit in naturally.
No, for sure, absolutely. And that's kind of what we've gone. I think we've gone at a bit of a crossroads of how we've selected our teams, because you've definitely gone for stats mostly. You've done all your spreadsheets and stuff, which is very exciting.
It's just the one spreadsheet.
Well, you just do one big spreadsheet, but I've just kind of gone on what I know from cricket and kind of just what's he like as a bloke, not really, but like what's their metal like and things like that. And I've seen a lot of people talking about Ben Slater as well, but he got a double 100 earlier season. But I there's something about Tom Haynes that I think is just stands out, and I think he deserves a go. So Tom Haynes is in. We can agree.
Yeah, like the two others I was looking at as a potential opener besides Hamid and Crawley were Sam Robson, which you'll hate, and Tom Abel.
Yeah, not a fan of that.
And it's like Robson's been doing pretty well the past few seasons. Like he didn't do that great when he was in the Test side last time. But I think he'd be a serviceable choice, to be honest.
I think he would be serviceable. Yeah, I think he would. I mean, I don't love it, but like, I think he's probably past his peak now. But there's reason behind that. A bit like how Australia picked Chris Rogers for a few years, and he definitely did a holding job until, well, he didn't really get another open after that, really. But I think there's reason behind that. But yeah, I think maybe time's passed for Robson. Abel, Abel got into my 30-man squad, but he's more of a 3 in my eyes rather than an opener. Hamid was also thereabouts, but again, I think we mentioned this before. I think Hamid just needs a year or two just back in the county circuit, just get his confidence back up and really build on his game. But yeah, we can agree on Tom Haynes. Yeah,
we can. Deal.
Nice. Number 2, I think this is going to be a bit more controversial, because I see a lot of like disagreement for old Zach, but we've both gone Zach Crawley. Do you want to pitch your Zach Crawley to me, or do you want me to pitch Zach Crawley?
Crawley was a difficult one to choose where to bat him.
Right.
I think the quality, he's got enough quality to be in the Test team. He's not always shown it. But it's whether Crawley was going to open or come in at 3 for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he got that massive 200 coming in at 3, and then he was moved to an opener and hasn't performed as well there. Like, for whatever reason, it's difficult to do that in Australia. It's just difficult to do it, full stop.
Yeah.
I think his best position would be a 3, but if he can transform into an opener, that would just be really dope. He's got the quality, he's got the potential to be a really good Test cricketer, and the only way he's going to learn and adapt to do that as an opener is to just play and play and play.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I would agree on that. Yeah, I think I mentioned a few podcasts ago when he got 100 against West Indies. I think I was just saying, just stick with him. I think he obviously had a lean spell last year, but then he came back in the Ashes, You got that 77 of about 100 balls at Sydney. And I think from an England perspective, that was our best innings of that entire tour. And I think if you can bat like that against that attack in Australia, obviously I know the conditions probably favour him a bit more, then you've definitely got something here. I think you can definitely work with it. Whether or not he averages 60 or 50 in first-class cricket is irrelevant. Not all great players have to go back into county cricket and absolutely tear up attacks. Like, he's not done great at the start of this season for Kent. And, you know, he's getting a lot of stick for that. And maybe opening isn't his best position. But I think right now, you stick with him there and you just give him... I'll just give him this summer. I worry that he could end up in a bit of like a Ravi Bopara kind of scenario, that he looks like he should succeed at test level but never quite reaches it. But I think for now, definitely stick with him. He's got the game. He obviously has the game. He's technically completely sound. It's just, you know, sometimes he just needs to just leave those, Zach. Don't play at those. I think he could succeed. You know, want a tall opener, really complements a good kind of all-round left-hand opener of Tom Haines. I think give him a go. I think that'll probably be controversial to listeners. I think there's a lot of people thinking that there's other better openers, but I would disagree. If you look at the openers we've used since, Burns and Mead looked all at sea in Australia for the most part. Sibley before that. Out of all the openers we've had to go through of late, I think Crawley's the most enterprising, if that's the right word.
Yeah. There's been too many times since Strauss retired where we've gone with an opener and he's had a couple of games and he's like, nah, you're not good enough. We've gone through like Nick Compton, Lees, Lythe, Robson, Root opened for a little bit. Like the amount of openers we've had for just a few games and then just fuck them off because they weren't good enough in their opening 2 games, which is fair enough. Like, you need to give them a bit of time.
Yeah.
So if we can give Haines and Crawley a significant amount of time opening together and like harbouring a relationship, then we've got to be patient.
Mm-hmm. This is not going to be a quick fix. It's going to take time for this team to gel and work together, but you've got to trust in whoever you go with. It might not be Crawley and Haines, but you just got to go, whoever you go with. I just want to see you stick with them for the summer. Yeah. You've got free reign. Obviously, you shouldn't just be given a test cap, but like I think if you just give them that element of confidence, that don't worry about looking over your shoulder or anything like that, just go out and play in the best way you can. And I think that Stokes is the kind of guy who would instill that kind of confidence. Quick note on Zach Crawley as well. He's also being heavily tipped to be vice captain, so that'll be fun.
Oh. I mean,
that's the sort of thing I saw running around earlier. I did call that. I want to say, if it does happen, I did call that. I think in a couple of episodes ago that they would give it to someone like Crawley.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Key being director now, it makes sense for him to just give it to his favourite boy.
Yeah, it's bizarre and it sounds silly, but on the other hand, if he's got that little extra element of responsibility, maybe that will help with this game. You don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So yeah, we've agreed on our opening partnership with Tom Haines and Zach Crawley. All good with that?
All good.
Good. I'm baffled. I think we're going to have a same top 3. Number 3 coming in is Josh Bohannon. I'm glad you also picked Josh. I was very close to going Milan, but I did go Josh Bohannon after he got that 200 odd last week against Gloucestershire. I think he's just a guy that, again, a bit like Tom Haines. I know you're throwing in 2 openers at the top of the order, but at the same time, they're not going to do any worse than anyone else. Well, oh no, we're going to be 2 for 3. That's not happened before. I just think, again, he's got a really sound all-round game, a little bit more experienced, plays on a really good pitch at Old Trafford, amongst a really good set of players. Obviously, a real international level attack that he plays with. An all-round game, attacking as well. Like when he got his 200 odd the other day, there was never any point where his tempo slowed down. He always was gradually building through the gears. and he bats at 3, and he's a really, really good number 3, and it's something that we've been calling out for ages. And I'm not for Root at 3 at all. I think Root being Stokes' mate is, Stokes will want the best out of Root, and Root will bat 4. That's done. That he's not going to be at 3 ever again. And I think you look at the best number 3s throughout the country. I think Josh Bohannon is in there for me.
Yeah, I think I said to you before that I was considering up to 3 number 3s, 2 being Crawley and Root.
Yeah.
The other was a spoiler, who was Bohannon. But I considered Milan as well. But I think for Milan, he's at an age where if we're going to try and reset the test team, you need to look at younger players. And like, as good as Milan is, it's not looking to the future. Like, he should have been in the team a long time ago. But now that he's like been in and out, and he didn't play in the Ashes, did he? I just completely
he played every game. He played every game in the Ashes. He got 2 80s to start the series. He batted really well in both Brisbane and Adelaide. But then he did fall away slightly towards the end. But there were a lot of kind of personal family issues going on at home during the 5th test. His wife prematurely gave birth to their child. So I think there's a lot of stuff going on. Personal life. I don't think he should have played that last test. I think he should have gone home. So potentially he might have just been rested for the West Indies. Maybe he's still very much in the frame, and he could potentially be straight in at 3. I think there's probably quite a chance of that. He started very strongly for Yorkshire as well, albeit batting at 4. I think 4 or 3, might be 3. I may have completely made that up. I think there's a chance he could be in there, and if Milan plays, I'll be all behind that. I think he's a great player, and he's definitely not had the fair crack of the whip at Test level. But at the same time, if we go Josh Bohannon, I'm also more than happy with that. But I think realistically, those are your only 2 choices at 3.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think if Milan was, say, 5 years younger, I'd have him in. But if you want a bit of a cultural reset, you want a team to gel together and stick together for years to come, Bohannon's the more logical choice, even if he's going to need some time to get adjusted to it. But he's averaging, he's only played like 3 or 4 games this season. He's averaging 125.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
It's all right, that.
Yeah, it's good. No, I think he's definitely been a guy who's been touted for a while. I mean, David Lloyd Bumble was on the commentary team for the Lancashire game as well. And even before the game had started, he said Josh Bohannon's going to play international cricket this summer. And then he goes and scores 200 in that game. So, I mean, that's an old ex-England coach. I think that kind of tells you everything you need to know, to be honest. So, yeah, we'll agree on Bohannon. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Milan does come again. But we'll see what happens. I guess with Milan, you have got that kind of experience side, but that leans into the middle order. We both agree Root at 4, Stokes at 5. Easy enough. So we've got the same top 5, which I think is well done us. That's very good. But then we get our first point of difference. You have gone for Liam Livingston.
I have.
Who is currently IPLing.
Right.
What is your rationale to the Liam Livingston?
There ain't much. I'm not going to lie.
Sure.
I want a Rishabh Pant in the team.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to look through and find stats of players in the county champs that have that sort of thing. And the only one I could reasonably find was like Kyron Carlson. But there's just not that trust there. With Livingston coming in at 6, just tell him to fucking smash it. Just play one way. If you get out for 2, you get out for 2. But if he's on nick in one innings and he just smashes even just a 50, like that just changes the whole dynamic of the game so quickly.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really risky move, but it's the kind of chaotic move I want.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that, to be honest. He's an exceptional player. He's had a pretty good IPL as well. I think everyone always does typecast Livingston as a white ball player. But this is a guy who averaged 38 in first class cricket and over 62 games as well. So it's not like he's only played a handful. I think, when you're looking at an ideal number six, I think he kind of fits that mold. You know, like you say, smashes it. Is the aggressor at the bottom of the order. Um, I'd have no issues with Livingston at six. I think why not give him a go? You look at the kind of other candidates before we get to mine, of people like Dan Lawrence, Ollie Pope, I guess Sam Billings to an extent. There'll be other players in the county championship as well, but maybe James Vince, stuff like that. But I think the other players you're looking at for batters are going to be higher up the order, and I don't think any really getting before Josh Bohannon or would bat 4 or 5 ahead of Stokes. So yeah, I think Livingston at 6 is fine.
I'll take that. I'll take fine.
I've gone slightly different. I've gone tried and tested. I've gone Johnny Bairstow.
Is it tried and tested though?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Considering in his last 4 games, he's got 200s. The only guy who scored any more hundreds than that in that time would be Root. He is an experienced player. There is an argument that he could take the gloves, but I think he's batted 6 in his last few games. I think that 100 he got against West Indies in that first test when we were 40 odd for 4, and then he came in and got 100, which just showed that real kind of experience you want in this team, that determination. I think he's turned a corner in his game. He's not had a great IPL in my mind. I'm thinking maybe he's more thinking about red ball cricket now. I think just in terms of the experience for now, at least, he bats really well with Stokes as well. I mean, you don't want people picking your mates, but they get on well. They've got a good dynamic. I think he gives all for the team. I would say that if he did have a bad summer, then I'm more than happy for that to be curtains for Bairstow. But just given his form and that 100 he got in Australia as well when we were crap, I think was great. But I think, yeah, that 100 against West Indies for me felt like give him a few games. I think, that so many times we've just rolled over for nothing. And in that innings, he got a good score. And I think he's a guy, as I've said, will give his all for the team. And that's kind of the dynamic I see with Stokes, a Stokes team. That's not to say that I wouldn't like Liam Livingston in the team. So there's an argument that Bairstow could have the gloves and Livingston bats at 6. And that could happen. And that's not out of the realms of possibility. But I would go Bairstow for now. I think that's maybe too much of a safe ECB selection from me. But that would be my call.
I think it is a bit of a safe bet, but it doesn't mean it's a bad bet.
No,
his form is up there. He's got the capability to either go hard or slow it down and try and help rebuild an innings. I think he leans towards going hard more than rebuilder, but he can act as a bit more of a glue between the middle order and the tail end.
Yeah.
As compared to Livingston, who I've literally just chosen to spank it and up the momentum.
Yeah, which is fair. And I think you can have either or. I think either or work fine. You look at how well Pant's gone. But I think if you want a player like Pant, you need a really good all-rounder batting at 7. And that will lead on to our number 7. So we'll disagree on our number 6, but we don't have to form one team. Our number 7 then. We've both gone Ben Foakes. Why did you go Foakes?
He's the best wicketkeeper we have. End of discussion. We can move on to the bowlers now.
Yeah, I mean, there was the part of me that thinking he didn't have a great West Indies tour, but I think it would be harsh just to discard him after that. He's obviously earned his chance. Again, I am concerned that Butler has scored 300s in the IPL, and I'm worried that we're going to go deja vu, that when he lasted so well in the IPL, we just picked him again. So I do get concerned. But I think they'll go folks. It's no jokes. But I think he has got a little way to prove himself at Test level. He got a great 100 on debut. Obviously, his glove work is second to none. But at the same time, I hate to use the cliche, in the modern game, you need your keeper batsman to score runs. Again, you go back to Pant and how well Pant's done. So you know, and I think he needs to really show something with the bat, and he's done that for Surrey at the start of this season. So there's a good chance that, you know, in his first home summer for England, in conditions he knows, then hopefully he can show that. But I think, you know, you got the option of Bairstow over the gloves. I think Billings is probably in with a shout at some stage down the line, maybe. So I think he would need a strong summer to stay first choice. But I am a fan of him, folks.
Yeah, like, he's one of those players that's, I think we've both always wanted him in the team for ages, but he's either been injured or they've just stuck with Butler or Bairstow. And he deserves a bit of longevity in the team just
Absolutely.
to show what he's capable of at Test level.
Yeah.
Like, if we were really going full tilt with a reset, then I would like to see Billings in there as a potential captain or vice captain, and to like learn his trade in Test cricket. Like, perhaps hypocritically, considering I've put Livingston in, I think the fact that he's gone to IPL when he could have been staking a claim playing county championship has gone against him for me personally. But it's like, Stokes is still the best wicket keeper out of there. Like, obviously Bairstow, Butler, Billings are probably better bats than him, but
yeah, for sure. I mean, Billings isn't even first choice keeper at Kent, so
yeah,
that's
there we go.
that says it all. No, I think you're right. I'd agree, and I think folks does. I think it was said earlier that you don't just get given a cap, but I think he has earned his go. But I don't think he has the whole summer. If he has a bad tour series against New Zealand for those 3 tests, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a little look elsewhere for the South Africa series. But yeah, we'll see. I hope he does well, because I am a big fan of folks. Right, so we go on to the bowlers. And for bowling wise, we only have one of the same bowler, which is James Anderson, or Jimmy Anderson. I've got him at batting at 10, you're batting at 11. That's the only similarity. I think one of the things that being reported is that Stokes wants Anderson and Broad back, which is, fair enough. I did actually adjust my team accordingly with that.
I purposely left Broad out after having seen that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that is that a good place to start, or do we carry on 8, 9, 10, 11?
Let's go with this. Like, it goes with opening bowlers first.
Opening bowlers, yeah.
Jimmy speaks for itself.
Absolutely.
I think at this stage, you can only have one of Jimmy or Broad in the team at the minute. I think occasionally put them both in when it's a massive must-win game. Yeah, screw it, both go in. But I'd like them to start phasing out of the team and go into a new era of bowlers. And I want them to be a part of that phase. I want them to like impart their knowledge and their ability and help train new bowlers. And I think the best way to do that is to have just one of them playing at any given time, while the other is kind of acting as like an unofficial player coach.
Yeah, I get that. I went a stage further. I picked both Anderson and Broad is my vice captain. So it's tricky because I feel like I think you also mentioned there of like, oh, if it's a must-win game, they must play, and I think similar to what I think Nas has said at this stage, how bad England have been and how crap it's been the last kind of almost 18 months. I think you just that first test, you just pick the best team you possibly can, and Anderson and Broad, no matter what anyone says, are still, I would say, your best two bowlers in England. My team is definitely, this is an England-based bowling attack. I'm going to go Anderson and Broad. Proven time and time again. They will come back with a point to prove as well. Obviously, Broad's not played a single game yet this season, but he's going to play tomorrow. I just think, given both their experience, their hunger and desire, I think they'll perform as good as they can do. And it could be a last season for Anderson, but I think he has earned that right to have a last season in the team, to bow out. I think Anderson definitely plays, and for me, Broad plays alongside him and also as vice captain, as another experienced head in that team, until you're satisfied enough to give it to a player like Crawley. I think he can hold that responsibility, or Anderson and Broad can share it. So whenever one of them's playing and the other one's not, they can then be the vice captain. I think why not? Who would be your second opening bowler?
So I've gone for another debutant. I've gone for Little Chef, Sam Cook.
Yeah, sure.
Like, stats over the last 3-4 seasons are pretty solid. His average for last season was 14.
Nice, yeah, solid.
58 wickets, 39 strike rate. The season before, 32 wickets, 21 average, 44 strike rate. It's a little bit up this season, but start of the season, I just want to see new bowlers given a chance. Like, they went into the West Indies series going like, right, we're going to give some players a chance here. First game, it was like the same attack from the first game of the Ashes. And sure, you played Fisher and Mahmood, but that was because of injury. Like, you weren't choosing them because you wanted to. They were picked out of necessity. Like, they both did all right.
Yeah.
But again, they were in because of injury. Like, if you are really serious about moving England forward, you have to be willing to put new players in and give them a chance and just see how they go. And I think Sam Cook is a decent shout for that opening bowler spot. He can seam it, he can swing it. Like, why not? And he'll be learning off of Jimmy and Broad as well. So go for it. Why not?
No, I can't argue with that. I mean, he's done so well, as you mentioned, so well for Essex over the many seasons. Plays in such a really good Essex team as well. Sometimes, I mean, I can't really say, but a lot of the times watching Essex games, they are kind of helpful conditions. But we play Test cricket in always helpful conditions, so I'm sure he would do a job. No problems with having a look at new guys. I mean, a decent shout. I mean, he probably might be in and around the squads. I think him and maybe Jamie Porter, I think it was, kind of similar levels, I think. Maybe in and around. Were there any other kind of bowlers you were looking at, or was it Sam Cook that stood out?
Cookie stood out. Like, Matty Potts, I looked at a little bit. He's started this season well. But yeah, I think Sam Cook just stood out for me, and like it would be nice to have a Cook back in the England Test team. It just feels right.
Yeah, it feels like solid. Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, fair enough. A decent shout. I cannot deny that. In terms of third bowler, this is where mine got a bit tricky. Because originally I was thinking about not going Broad. And I was going to play your other seamer that you've chosen, which is Saqib Mahmood. I'm a massive fan of Saqib. Huge fan. I think he's going to be great for England. And I really wanted him in my team. If Broad hadn't played...
So it begs the question, why isn't he in your team?
So, he would have played if Broad didn't play. But I picked. It will also factor into my other bowler I've picked, but I picked Ollie Robinson. Currently, I'm aware not fit, but I think will be fit enough for the first test. He was one of Wisden's Cricketers of the Year for last year. I think if I quickly bring up his stats for Test cricket, I know he did let himself down towards the end with his fitness, but if I quickly do some typing, and no one's going to be noticing as I find Ollie Robinson as this loads up for his stats. Here we go. There he is.
We're very prepared.
Yeah, so he's done nine. He's played 9 tests. He's got 39 wickets at 21, which is very good. I don't think there's ever been, apart from towards the end of the Ashes and obviously not being available to play in West Indies, where his pace dropped, all that series against India at home, that first test against New Zealand, the first couple of games of the Ashes, he looked completely at home. And a lot of that time leading the attack as well. He was also the new ball bowler alongside Jimmy when Broad was injured. I think he's a really, really promising prospect for England. A lot of them people seeing he's similar to Josh Hazlewood. I don't think he's as quick, but especially in England conditions, which is why I'm picking this team. I think he gets in. But the main reason I've picked Ollie Robinson is because of the spinner I've picked. So there's. So I'll go with mine first. I've gone Matt Parkinson. Right. If Matt Parkinson would play, if my opinion is that if it's gonna spin or anything at all, I want my best spinner in, which I believe at this time is Matt Parkinson for sure. If you weren't playing a spinner, Saqib would absolutely be in as well. That I think you have a point of difference when you're playing in England. You either go pace or you go with spin. If there's no pace in the track, you pick a good spinner. If there is pace, you pick Saqib, and then you rely on Root to be the general other spinner. That would be, I think you only need for an England team to do well in England conditions, which seems stupid to tell them how to do it. I think you just have the 1 point of difference in the bowling attack, and over the years, having 3 right arm seamers who do nip it around will do the job, and then you can then have the extra bowler being pace of Saqib or the leg spin of Matt Parkinson. I think it's harsh on Leach. I'm a massive, again, like a bit like folks, I'm a massive fan of Leach, but I think for now, England also need to be living in the now. They absolutely missed a trick with Leach, and he should have been playing. He should have been England's main spinner in like 2017, 18, 19. I feel that was Leach's peak. But now I feel like England have missed his peak. I think he's still a very good bowler, still holds an end, can still do a job for you. But I think you just look at Parkinson, I think he's just getting better and better. I think England have only picked him for white ball, but I think he's a much stronger red ball option. He's much more attacking, but he's also quite economical as well. So if you're going with a kind of samey attack, which I have, of Anderson, Broad and Robinson, when you've got a leg spinner thrown into the mix, then that, I think, makes the attack a bit more, shall we say, spicy. But yeah, for me, it would either be a leg spinner of Parkinson or the pace of Saqib or a Wood or an Archer. I'm sick of the talk of like, you need 2 quick bowlers or we need to prepare for an Ashes in 4 years' time. You've got to play both Wood. When are Wood and Archer going to play together? Well, neither, because they always get injured all the time. So you go with 3 bowlers who are going to do a job, and then you go for the extra cliche X factor player. I'm also going to get up the stats for Matt Parkinson, so we're going to also just wait again whilst I bring up.
God, you know what?
Parky's stats. You might have stats. You did the whole spreadsheet.
I have Matt Parkinson's last 3-4 seasons for the county championship.
Yeah, that's probably a good shout. I can give you his overall, but yeah, if you've got those, that'll be fab.
Cool. 2019, 20 wickets in 4 matches at 19.
Yeah.
And 43 strike rate. 2021, 36 wickets, average of 20, strike rate of 53. This season, 11 wickets, at an average of 24, strike rate of 68. So
And that's April as well.
yeah, so like decent averages. Strike rate could maybe improve, but like as a leg spinner, you'll kind of take
For
that.
sure. In England conditions as well, we keep harping on about we don't produce good spinners, but you've got one who's bowling well for Lancashire and has done, I think, pretty much like you've said, pretty much all his seasons. Um, I think he's reaching a really good stride and he's getting better and better. And I'm sick of England missing the trick with players and they never pick them enough in their actual when they're really reaching their real. Not saying he's reached his prime, but when he's in such good form and he's bowling so well. I would just love to see him have a go. But yeah, I feel like I've gone on my monologue, and then you're going to say your spin bowler.
Uh,
Why have you picked yours?
I mean, it was a toss-up between Leach and Parkinson for me.
Hmm.
Like you mentioned there, like your three seamers are all very samey.
Yeah.
I think that's I don't like that at all. I think your third seamer has to be something different.
Hmm.
It has to offer a bit of variation if it's pace or whatever. So that's why I've gone Saki for my third seamer.
Hmm. No, I get that for sure. Definitely.
You've got two swingy bowlers, and if like you take Sam Cook out for Robinson, fine. Take Jimmy out for Broad or whatever.
Hmm.
That's fine. But I think you need some sort of variation in the attack, and Saki offers that.
Hmm.
Like I'm really 50-50 on Leach v Parkinson. I really want to see Parkinson play as well, and he'll definitely be the long-term future. But because I've also gone Livingston, he offers a bit of leg spin here and there, and then I've got Stokes. We've both got Stokes. Stokes can offer a bit
Yeah.
of bowling. So I think because I've gone Livingston in my team, that's given me the flexibility to have Leach in there to just hold an end, to be economical, while whoever's bowling at the other end can just hammer at whoever's on strike. Like
Yeah.
I would love to see Matt Parkinson because we've not had a decent, consistent spin bowler since Swan, really.
No, absolutely not.
And I think the best way for us to get the best out of spin in English conditions is a leg spinner. Like
Hmm.
you'd see it every time Shane Warne, like he was god level, sure,
Hmm.
but he was spinning it so much because you get the extra spin from that wrist spin. Like it makes sense for you to have a wrist spinner in English conditions to just
Absolutely.
spin it as much as possible.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And you look at some of the deliveries that Parkinson bowls; they are brilliant delivery. Obviously, he's not going to bowl them every time, but I'm also very tired of everyone saying, "Oh, he bowls too slow." Well, obviously, he doesn't. He's getting all these people out at county level. Some of them go on play international cricket. So he plays first class cricket. And he's Lancashire's first choice leg spinner. So he obviously doesn't bowl too slow. I just give him a go. I think he's obviously getting wickets in April, so he can get wickets in June. I mean, I just bizarre. But I also take your point on Saqib. Again, I love Saqib. I also love Leachy. I think they're both great. Um, but I think if we're going to win a game right here, right now, if you're playing a green seamer in Lords, I'm going to be boring and pick three swingy bowlers, but then also counteract that with a little leggy. I know England never will. They will never pick a leg spinner at Lords for a first test of the summer. But I think if you did, I think that would just be such a good moment for a team to savour. So that's our teams. I think we've agreed more than I thought we would.
Yeah, I think
Um,
even where we've differed, it's kind of the same thought process behind it.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a few good names in there. I'd love to see a few outside chances. A few, I like I said, I had a whole squad of about 30, 32. Um, I whittled down a little reserves list as well, which you'll be able to see soon on our social medias. So my reserves, so we've touched on one. One was Milan. Put Dan Lawrence in there as well, mainly just because he played pretty well in West Indies. But I think in English conditions, which is stupid to say because he plays in England, but I just think his technique will be found out against a good bowling attack against both obviously New Zealand and South Africa. Was obviously found out last summer. Um, Billings is in there just mainly because of character. I think he's a good fit for this team. And that one test he played, I think, was really a good testament to his kind of characteristics, especially behind the stumps. Leachy's in there. If you're not going to play Parkinson, Leach is definitely my second spinner, without a shadow of a doubt. Sakib, obviously, again. But then my outside chance was Bryden Cass, who you may remember from the one-day series last time against Pakistan, when Stokes was captain. He got a fifer in that last one-day game. He's a quick bowler from Durham, mainly picked because Stokes was captain. Bowls with pace. I think he will get a chance sooner rather than later. He is injured at the moment, so that's why he wasn't necessarily in my contention to be a team. But he's a quick bowler from Durham. No one really knew much about him until he was in that squad, and then Stokes picked him in every game. I think he's got a bit about him, and I think it won't be too long until we see him in an England shirt for Test cricket if he stays fit. So he's my just not cricket one to watch for 2022.
Just give some newbies a chance. Like, that's always exciting to see a new player come in on debut.
Yeah, for sure. I think that I want to see at least one debut at Lords. If there's not one debut, I'm going to be visibly and physically upset.
Like, you've given 3 debuts out, and I've given 4.
Yeah.
So I think we both want to see fresh. I say 4. Like, Livingston's one of them.
Yeah.
So he's not really a fresh face, but
yeah, I'll be very interested to see how close we get. I feel like mine could be very close, but I think Leach probably plays ahead of Parkinson. But we'll see.
That would be the sort of safe bet the ECB would go with.
But I also don't know if Stokes would go for that safe kind of bet, you know? I think also when he was captain in the Pakistan series, obviously he had a very small squad or pool of players, but he went for attacking players and attacking options. He didn't necessarily go for the obvious routes as well. People like Bryden Cass and stuff like that, so maybe he won't be a safe captain. Who's to say? We all know fairly soon when he's maybe announced tomorrow, but we've still got to wait for a coach. But obviously we'll do another pod when that ever gets announced. But yeah, we've spent a lot of selection chat, so I think we'll leave it there for today. Thank you for listening if you did get this far and you did enjoy our little selection rambles. What is your selecting team for the first test against New Zealand? Let us know in the comments. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think I enjoyed that though. I enjoyed going through. I hope you enjoyed all the stats as well, and I look forward to seeing your completed spreadsheet. I think that'll be fun.
I am looking forward to never seeing it again. It was fun at the start, but my brain quickly melded into a screen of numbers and decimal points.
And it's not going to be long until all those stats are pointless anyway, because another round starts tomorrow, and all those stats are going to change.
Yay!
Yay, cricket! But yeah, we'll obviously share those teams as well. So let us know what you think. And we're on Just Not Crick Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and you can probably find us on YouTube as well if you want. Have you got any other points of interest, Mr. Jamie?
No.
Nice. Any words of encouragement to Ben Stokes as he accepts his lucrative new job offer?
Pick Livingston, have him smash it, resign from captaincy, give it Jofra, live on vibes and chaos, and it'll be great fun. Go for it, Stokesy.
Nice. You heard it here first. Bye.